All right, welcome back, everyone. So in this one, what we're going to be working on is materials. Yay! All right, great. So I'm going to start off with the most basic materials and move to more advanced materials. So typically when you're moving between programs, the image texture based materials, which are these ones here that have a relationship to, yes, you guessed it, an image, right? Like we looked at earlier. These are image-based materials. They transfer over between programs no problem. The materials that don't transfer over as often are those based off of parameters, which are like sliders, like how much metalness or shininess or what color. Color will sometimes transfer, but like those other parameters will not. So you do have to reset them up. So for example, the glass here, mine is looking transparent here, which is nice. But if I go into my materials window here, you can see that the base color is black. I can change the base color to white, and it does make it even more transparent. I might even remake this material. Just who knows if yours is looking like mine, but if I wanted to, I can just make a new glass. And how to make glass in Blender is simple. Just get rid of it, make a new one. We'll call it glass. Okay. And then you can see now it's white. That's fine. The only thing you've got to really do here is you want to make sure that the surface is completely lacks roughness, right? So roughness is just like it sounds. You know the difference between matte and glossy is glossy stuff doesn't have any roughness to it. So we bring that down to make it completely smooth or glossy. And then we go down to transmission. And you bump the transmission up, how much light goes through the material. And so that's how you make glass in Blender. Great. Next material we want to deal with here is this one here. And I'm going to get rid of the material and add a new material. I'm sorry, material. And I'm going to call it aluminum frames. Okay. And then my color, I'm going to make it black. Okay. I'm going to bump up the metallicness of it. And then you can choose if you want it to be like powder coated rough. That's kind of how I'm going to do it. Great. So now I've got those black frames. The roof here, I've got an exterior of my roof. I can choose colors here. I might want to get rid of that, do a new material. Call it exterior paint black. And I'm going to maybe make it a nice dark black color. Okay. This one here, I'm going to use the same material. And you can, if you wanted to make the same material on different objects, you can click on it and then shift click, or actually vice versa. So click on this one, you're going to want to change, shift click on this one, control L to bring up link, and then copy link materials. So there, now the materials are linked. All right. Very cool. So the exterior facade as well, I might even just use that material. So you can also find the materials here. Let's go exterior paint black. Okay. And these frames on the doors. Oh, also, when you want to zoom in on things, you can hit the decimal point on your numpad, or you can like select, like if I way out here or something and I wanted to, zoom in on the object I've got selected, you can go to view and go to frame selected there. It helps to have a numpad with Blender, but that's really, now I orbit around it. That's like zoom selected in Rhino, which is really handy. So, okay, which one we got here? Fancy door. I'm going to go ahead and create a new one. And you know what? I'm going to just use frames. random frames, and that changes that one. Control L, link materials. All right. So those are the basic ones. I've also got that concrete material in here too, right? Okay. And then I'm going to maybe do a new material on this one, and I'm going to make it kind of a bluish, dark bluish color here. So new, blue, metal. All right, and then I'm going to do metallic. And do we want it shiny? Yeah, let's do a Jeff Koons style. All right. So let's next talk about UV mapping here. So I'm going to switch back to a kind of a shaded view here. And I'm going to just do one of my more basic pieces. I'll do this one here. So select it, hit my decimal point to lock in on it, or go to View, Frame Selected, so that you're now framed on the object. And let's go up to UV editing here. Okay, UV editing, and decimal point again, so I'm zoomed in on it, in UV editing. Tab over to the edit mode, hit A to select all of it, and now we can see our UV map is here. So I'm going to do a new UV map, and I'm going to change the size of it here. And so this piece is called Aeolian Axis. So just Aeolian, how do you spell it? Picking names that I can't even spell. A-E-O-L-I-A-N. Aeolian. 2048 by 2048. So that's the size I like to use for my UV maps, and then we hit OK. Zoom out a little bit, and now the UV is on a 2048 by 2048. Next step we got to do is we go UV, export UV layout, and then we're going to put this in our UVs folder. Okay. So next, Photoshop. So we go to and actually, you know what? I'm going to move this folder because I don't want it right there. Cut. Paste. Okay. So next, I'm going to open this with Photoshop. And I'm going to lay out my UV map here. And you can also, if you wanted to, modify the UV map here. So like, for example, if I switch over here to this setting, I can now grab this, and I can hit G for grab. That's how you grab anything, whether it's a mesh or whatever. You can hit G for grab, and then you can go X to lock it into the X axis. Y locks it into the Y axis, but I'm gonna lock it X here. And then I can scale it, right? I can change the scale of it. So I'm gonna scale this along the X axis here. So this does distort the object here, but it takes up more of the UV map, which I'm actually fine with. So now if I click there, I have now created a larger rectangular space for my artwork that's gonna take up more of the pixel density of the UV map. Great, so next I'm gonna export this again. And it's right here. Overwriting it here. Let's close this, and then let's open it back up. And it really doesn't matter that I've distorted the aspect ratio of it because I can stretch it using transform. So I'm going to open now my artwork. It's right here, and just drop it up there. Okay. And then pull it back down. I'm going to go V, grab it, and just drop it over here. And then Control T to transform, and then Shift to lock it in. And then I'm going to kind of bring it down and just make it fit. Even if it's distorted. Okay, then hit enter to get out of the transform. And then the next thing, this piece actually has the sides of it kind of match like this pattern because this is done with some stained canvas. So I'm going to actually go ahead and color in this space with a color here. So I'm going to select this here, go OK, G, and color it in like that. Yeah, it's probably good enough. You'll never notice. Okay, so I'm going to save that now. Let's go ahead and flatten this. Flatten image. Close it. Save it. Yes. All right. Then we go back to our artwork here. And we want to create a new material. Create a new one. And then now we're going to click next to where it says base color here. And we're going to go to image texture. Go to open. And then we got to find our file here. And open it up. Oh. All right, it is flipped. And sometimes that happens. I think I might have been when I was moving it around in the UV map, I might have accidentally moved it improperly. So let me tab back over. And then I can actually just select this face. Remember, I'm in this face selecting mode up here. I can right click. And you can see if things are even out of line, I can even move this, and it moves around the UV map. But I'm going to right click here and I want to mirror on the y-axis here. There we go. Yeah, I must have accidentally flipped it around when I was messing with the UV map. But it's good to know also that you can modify the UV map afterwards. Like if it's not quite lined up, you can come back in here and line it up just by selecting it, G for grab, and moving it around. And yeah, back into the scene here, again, G grabs things, right? So you can grab anything with the G command. So that's basically how I'm going to UV map all of these, all the rest of these. And then I also want to add some more textures like this. I know there's going to be a new one here. Let's go ahead and add a new texture here. Base color, I'm going to do kind of like a color like that. Metallic all the way up. And that's my gold piece. Looks good. So yeah, I'm going to just keep going. The UV mapping is basically just rinse and repeat to create the UV maps for all of the rest of the artwork. And then I've got one other thing I'm going to do. Once that's all done, I'm going to come back here and I'm going to paint some of these sculptures. So we'll get into texture painting. So I will be back once that is all done. All right, so that does it for like the basic materials. I've got all of my artwork UV mapped now. All that's left to do, any of the sculptures that I've got like metallics and stuff on some of them, simple solid colors. The last thing I'm going to do in the next video before we finish and render out some of the images is I want to show you all how to texture paint. So how to paint your UV maps. So this is a sculpture that has a couple of different tones on it. I'm going to show you all how to do that. So that's going to be for next time. And these ones are like epoxy resin and stuff, so I'm going to do those as well. And yeah, so that's basically it for the artwork. Simple UV mapping in Blender, very similar to Rhino. And now you know how to UV map in both softwares, and also how to do some of the materials in both softwares as well. Okay, thank you very much.